baby. Okay. Chat, 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 chat. Chef Jourdan has written a 6-page letter. I really wish she had testified. But maybe we'll get some insight into why she did not. Damn, my coffee is frozen cold now. I'm going to finish my coffee. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Gold digger, my face too. Like, what? Let's hear what she had to say. Y'all ready? Let me change the screen and put the document back up here. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. All right. To whom it may concern, my name is Jourdan Chatoon Atkins. I think I said that. Chatuna? I don't know. I think I said that right. But Chef Jourdan. And I was Sean Combs' personal chef from the summer of 2007 through the spring of 2010. During my time, I can say I was extremely overworked, underpaid, mentally abused, exploited, and at one point I was assaulted by Mr. Combs. Now, I'm going to say this. I think this is going to be like a prelude into um her testimony, because she did not testify. So this, to me, I think we're going to get the testimony from her that we did not get on the stand. I still wish that she would have testified. Um and maybe I should dial back a little bit with how I felt, but I just feel like when you're a victim and you go to trial, it was already hard for everybody else to get up there and get on that stand and testify. And I just feel like you were a chink in the chain of that. And if you guys got to stick together. And I know that I was a little rough, but let's hear what she had to say. All right. So she says, that she was assaulted by him, right? So not only was I exploited by Sean Combs, I was also exploited by his HR executive staff, which would be KK. Okay. Throughout my time there, they would consistently manipulate me into silence and staying in my position by saying they would get help to ensure I had days off. There was also a time in which they told me to, to spearhead the creation of Ciroc flavors. I was the one who chose, sampled, and tweaked the flavors throughout their inception, for which I was never compensated for. This was the most toxic and abusive work environment I have ever been in my entire career. It has been extremely traumatizing to relive all of this. It was hard to live through the first time around in my mid 20s. Pause for a second. Are you noticing that there is a theme? Mia was in her mid 20s, Cassie was freshly in her 20s. They're young and easily manipulated. Okay, so now in my mid 40s, a lot of things I was too young and naive to understand. But the reality of it all is cemented in my mind now. I have spent the past year and a half in a constant fight, fight state or flight mode, fight state or flight mode. And I'm currently trying to heal and repair all of the damage. There was also a time in which Sean Combs threatened my life to keep me silent about his abuse towards Cassandra Ventura. I have a journal from this time that I never read until Cassie's case came out in November of 2023. And it was like opening Pandora's box, reading what my 20-year-old self endured. I was there to witness the start of Sean Combs and Cassie's relationship. This has been an extremely traumatizing time in my life in the past year and a half, having to unearth the past and relive it again. I never forgot what I experienced during my time there, but I for sure buried it in order to survive. I've spent the past 18 years building my career in the high profile sector, and this case has destroyed my life. I worked so hard to create. When you become personal chef to high profile people, you become part of a secret society. Discretion is the foundation. I didn't willingly participate in this case. What I recognize now This is what happens with collective silence. My silence gave Sean Combs the space and time to grow into a more violent criminal. When I started working with Sean Combs, he and Cassandra, the grooming phase. That is what it was in my eyes. She was 19, he was 36. There were lavish dinners, shopping sprees, etc., all in the guise of creating a new artist. Sean was working her down, like men with money do. I was there in Miami when their working relationship turned romantic. During that weekend, I saw Cassandra provided copious amounts of drugs. I encountered her extremely high out of her mind, and I offered her food to help bring her down. I witnessed Sean cursing his assistant David James out for not having condoms on the yacht. I remember thinking it was crazy and gross. Like, why is he so mad about condoms not being on the yacht? It's never that serious. It stuck out in my mind because that's when I knew this was no longer a working relationship. They were both extremely high the whole weekend and really thereafter. I saw Sean abuse prescription meds, weed, and ecstasy. Throughout those early months, it was heavy drug use. I saw him be extremely controlling, and I would say there was an obsessive nature about him. He would go on drug binges and he would not let any of us sleep, let alone get any breaks. I was working 17 to 21 hours a day, 7 days a week. I worked almost 2.5 to 3 months straight until I had my first day off. He screamed and cursed at me when he saw me having casual conversation with Cassie. He said that I wasn't supposed to be talking to her if it wasn't about food. He also cursed me out when he saw me speaking to guests at one of his parties. He was watching me from across the room. Then he pulled me aside and said that I wasn't supposed to be talking to his friends, that he didn't work all these years for me to come and steal his relationships. Sean Combs would curse me out if I fed people without his permission. He made me feel like I had to look to the floor and not make eye contact with guests. I'd say, like a pimp does a woman. During this time, November of 2007, while at the Miami estate, I witnessed Sean Combs get aggressive and borderline violent with the estate manager, Amanda. He was enraged by the fact she had never told me to feed. Wait, he was enraged by the fact. I lost my place. Sorry, y'all. Oh, he was enraged by the fact that Amanda was allowing her house staff to eat. When Sean Combs questioned her about it, she lied and said she never told me to feed them. Amanda and I actually got into a disagreement about me feeding the staff because I told her I wasn't being paid to do that. I actually called HR to get clarity. They informed me that I was supposed to feed them. One day, Sean Combs observed the groundskeeper making themselves a plate, even though I said they shouldn't because he hadn't even eaten yet himself. Of course, as they're making their plates, he comes downstairs. Once he sees this, he immediately starts screaming and cursing about who told them they could eat. I stood there silent. I didn't want to get anyone in trouble, and I could tell he was furious. Ultimately, Sean Combs' security told him that Amanda told me that I was supposed to feed them. Sean Combs then called both Amanda and I into the kitchen. He started screaming and cursing at Amanda, saying, "Why is she lying? Why is she telling me to feed her staff?" Ultimately, as he is screaming, he gets up and he throws a bottle of water across the room, saying, "I'm the motherfucking king and you are lying to my fucking face right now." Amanda was saying she told me to only provide leftovers to her staff. I told her to just tell him the truth. Once he threw the water bottle, I got up and called Dia in HR. I used a phone where he couldn't see me. I asked Dia what I should do because I thought he might hit Amanda. I was instructed to get security to separate them, which I did, all while leaving the phone down on a ledge so Dia could hear everything. Amanda resigned not long after that incident. I believe it fractured their work relationship. Amanda and I never recovered. She blamed me for the incident. Soon this trip, my hair started falling out. and I was having anxiety attacks with heart palpitations. I asked HR if they could rush my benefits through because I needed to see a doctor. I was diagnosed with stress induced alopecia and extreme anxiety attacks. I was prescribed Zoloft. Throughout this time, I was constantly calling the office asking for help and begging for days off. When you work 17 to 21 hours a day, you never really rest because your body and mind are still racing. When you lay down by that time, you have to get up for the next day. HR kept stringing me along saying that they would help, they would get me help so I could have day off days. I was so young and I just wanted to prove that I could do it. So I stayed, thinking at some point things would change, but they never did. In April of 2008, at the Alpine, New Jersey estate, Sean Combs physically assaulted me. We got into a heated argument and I quit, which enraged him. He kept saying I couldn't fucking quit on him. As I was walking out of the house, he was following me, screaming, cursing, and berating me. Once the door was open, Sean Combs used all of his might to push me out the door. I went flying in the air and ended up on my elbows and butt. There were two steps to get up into the house. So it was a pretty hard fall. I called the police but hung up. I called HR and told them I was going to sue him. Ultimately, ultimately HR told me I would be blackballed and my career would be over if I sued him. They said that Sean had the power to blackball me and would end my career when it just started. I chose my career and I stayed quiet. I left for a few months, but was asked to come back. I was assured this would never happen again, that Sean Combs would apologize and that they would find help so that I could get days off. HR said they would look at budgets for a pay increase. At this time, I was only making 65,000. 65,000 a year? I agree, Mary. But when you're trying to build a name for yourself and you're working for somebody, it puts you in a catch 22. Let's see. I wasn't working after I left. So when they called, I went back. Sean apologized, but none of the other things happened. In 2008 or 2009, and it's redacted, Genevieve called the office and I went to the kitchen phone to call 911. I was told to hang up and that they would send his private doctors over. I don't know what happened, but something happened and the police were called. Okay. The incident was minimized. HR said that Sean Combs had a reaction to his prescription medication and alcohol. I told HR I knew what a blank was, but I left it alone. Sean Combs had some of his prescriptions added to my prescription pickups a few times in Miami. Both these incidents were examples of how I assume rich people do things so that the public doesn't find out their personal business, not understanding that some of this was illegal. In 2000, she was in her early 20s. 19 was Cassie. Yeah, he OD'd. I believe so. In 2009 in LA, I was informed by Sean Combs' security, Bonds, which would be Roger Bonds, that Sean Combs brutally beat Cassie and that Bonds thought Sean Combs was going to kill Cassie. I was shocked as Bonds detailed the beating. He said that Sean Combs was punching her in the head and stomping her out inside the car. At one point, Cassie ran from the car and was dragged back by Sean Combs through the concrete back into the car. Genevieve, the assistant, was in the car. She was trying to break it up too. Bonds was concerned about Genevieve and said that she was hyperventilating. Bonds asked me to check on Genevieve. When I went to check on Jen, she acted like she didn't know what I was talking about. So I left it alone and went back to my position in the kitchen. Sean Combs came screaming and cursing into the kitchen. Chef, why are you in my motherfucking business? What goes on in my relationship is my motherfucking business. I will fucking end you if you tell anyone. I took this as he would kill me. And you better not tell anyone in the office either. Which made me realize HR told him I called them about the incident in Miami with Amanda. Up to that point, I didn't know that HR told him about me reporting the Miami incident. I believed then that Sean Combs would kill me if I told anyone he was beating Cassie, so I remained quiet. A day or two later, his assistant Genevieve and I took a bag to Cassie at the London hotel. I saw bruises on her face and arms. We never discussed it. We acted like nothing happened. Over the course of my time working with Sean Combs, I saw hotel rooms be set up with lights, sheets, baby oil, and Astroglide. I had always assumed it was freaky things going on, but never knew the extent. I dare not ask either. I saw Sean Combs yell, scream, and berate staff, artists, employees, and girlfriends. He was always mentally and physically abusive. I saw Cassie's bruised. I saw Cassie bruised on two other occasions in Miami and LA, but never questioned it. Sean Combs weaponized food, sleep, and breaks. We were not allowed breaks. We often snuck in to eat. I would sneak food to feed the staff. I would get cursed out if I asked to go home for the day. I wasn't allowed to leave for the day unless he said I could. As I type this, my heart breaks for the younger version of myself. I saw Sean Combs create drug fueled environments for artists, executives, and his girlfriends. I saw aftermaths of sex binges in New York, Jersey, Miami, LA, and the Hamptons. I believe that the heavy drug use was coercion. In order for him to get his way with his participants, he was using drugs with Cassie on day one of their consummation. I'm not sure you could ever be a willing participant under those circumstances. The drug use was far beyond recreational. Sean Combs was also having a sexual relationship with Blank, which to me was an additional lawyer of control. Wait. See, they blocked out somebody and we don't know what they said. Okay, which to me was an added lawyer of control, I guess, layer of control. Someone in her innermost circle keeping tabs on her and also kept secrets from her, weaponizing her most confident friend. I'm not sure Cassie ever knew this betrayal. Oh, oh, chat, chat. At the time, her closest friend was Carrie. Was he sleeping with Carrie? Mm. Over the years, I witnessed all of his assistants break down, and they each started abusing drugs or alcohol in order to get through the workday. David started using drugs, blank. Genevieve, I'm not sure, but after the 2009 beating in LA, blank. She left not longer after that. I would binge drink when I was told I was off and smoke weed to calm my nerves. My therapist would say I was self-medicating with weed. On March 20th of 2009, 2004, the Fed showed up at my door in Atlanta, Georgia. I was terrified and I refused to speak to them without a lawyer present. I was served with a grand jury subpoena before they left my home. By April 4th, Sean Combs knew I was contacted by the feds, even though I had not testified yet. This terrified me. By April 11th, Sean Combs' lawyer, Arian Dyer, left a voicemail stating that they knew I was contacted by law enforcement and that Sean Combs wanted to offer to cover my legal fees. Now pause because he covered the legal fees for Jane. I didn't respond. Immediately, I called my lawyers. They instructed me to disregard it. They said they would send out a cease and desist. On April 15th, Aaron texted me about the voicemail and stated in text that they knew I was contacted and reiterated that Sean Combs wanted to cover my legal fees. I was extremely terrified because how did Sean Combs even know I was contacted? Now I didn't trust him or the government. I didn't know what was going on. I felt like my life was in danger. On April 17th to the 18th, my Cadillac was broken into. My alarm system was tripped up. All the personal identifying paperwork in my glove compartment was taken out and neatly placed on my passenger seat. All the contents in the middle console, with a knife and jewelry, were also laid out. The only thing stolen was my dog bag. My dog is like my child. I took this as witness tampering and intimidation. In my mind, this was a clear threat. I called the police and filed a police report. I stated that the feds were at my house 2 weeks prior, that I believed this was intimidation because the person at the center of the case did not want me talking. I don't have proof that this was Sean Combs doing, but I firmly believe that it was him. He was sending me a message letting me know how easy it was to touch me if he wanted to. By this time, I was being asked months to be part of a documentary about Sean Combs, and I kept declining. I decided after Sean Combs made contact with me through his lawyer that I would do the documentary as a form of protection for myself in case anything more happened to me. I wanted it on record that he assaulted me and that I knew about the brutal 2009 assault of Ventura Fine, which is detailed on page 14 of her lawsuit against him. Sean Combs never denied the 2009 assault. He just threatened to end me to keep me silent. I took that as he would kill me. I accepted that he might have me killed for my participation in the documentary. Even now, I believe he could have me killed. After the 2016 brutal beating of Cassie was released, I realized that our collective silence only emboldened Sean Combs. He didn't get help. He didn't stop. He just got worse. The fact of the matter is, Sean Combs is an abusive maniac. He doesn't just physically, mentally, or financially abuse and exploit his girlfriends, but he does it to his staff as well. He has spent decades abusing almost everyone around him unchecked. So many of us just wanted to create our dream career, and Sean Combs had us living a nightmare. Reliving this all has been extremely traumatic. Seeing him essentially get off of the most serious offenses is terrifying. This was a miscarriage of justice, in my opinion. For him to now say upon his release he wants to become a DV counselor is truly sick. Him and his legal team should be ashamed of themselves. This PR media tour his legal team is taking just further proves how much Sean Combs believes himself to be above the law and that he has no remorse for the harm he has caused any of us. Now, this is redacted, so I don't know what it says before this, but Cassie said he raped her. Mia said he raped her. I believe he's a serial rapist. We were both supposed to testify, but were ultimately removed at the last minute. Okay, so she's saying she was removed at the last minute, but I thought she said she was so terrified that she told them she wasn't doing it. Now, Sean Combs likes to weaponize fatherhood, his children, and Kim Porter, when in reality, he blank redacted. Don't know what she said. Where were his kids while he was being a menace to society all these years? Sean Combs is a billionaire, not a street level pimp. He chose to use drugs to coerce women into becoming his own personal sex slaves. He used those recorded sexual escapades to hold over their heads to keep them in check. He used his staff to get drugs to facilitate and cover up crimes. He kidnapped Capricorn Clark at gunpoint. He was going to kill Kid Cudi. These things really happened. It's sick how it's all been minimized. Nothing about any of us, what any of us endured was normal. The RICO was there the whole time. Sean Combs got away with it. Instead of being satisfied that he essentially got off, he chooses to let his ego keep driving him. Instead of being thankful, he and his team has decided to make a mockery out of all of his victims and the judicial system. It is for these reasons I believe Sean Combs should get the maximum sentence available. I do not believe he can ever be rehabilitated. He is a master manipulator. I don't think he should be allowed to live in New York City, New Jersey, LA, or Miami. He should have to relocate to the middle of nowhere, far away from the places he preyed on and harmed so many. Not only do I fear for my safety, I fear for all of the witnesses that participated in this case. I know Sean Combs to be a very dangerous and spiteful man with a long memory and a panache for for payback. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Chef Jourdan. That's not what she said. She put a real name, but whoo, chat, chat, chat. I have to ask, what are we thinking? What are we thinking? Listen, you got to think about that. This is a good point that's being brought up, okay? Because the victims are absolutely reliving this over and over and over again. You got to think about it. The ones who did go to court, they're up there on the stand. And like Cassie was up there multiple days. Mia was up there multiple days. Capricorn was up there multiple days. Deontay was up there multiple days. Like they were up there multiple days. Jane is up there multiple days. And they have to relive this. They had to go through talking to the government, right? Telling the government what happened to them. They had to go through testifying at the grand jury. Then they had to testify on the stand. And now they have to write victim impact statements. Not only that, everybody who testified had to sit back and watch the jury make a decision and deem their trauma, their experience, their pain, deem it innocent or guilty for him. Put their trust in 12 strangers to give them justice and then feel let down. But you are absolutely correct. They are living this over and over again. Um, wow, these people went through so much. They really did, hot mama. Oh, I can't show that on the screen, but the face. Um, Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. Just quit. Did she stay for the money? When does your own personal safety kick in? She could have resigned as well. Well, Mary, you also got to take into consideration that these are 20 year old people. They were all young. They were, and I'm not saying that as an excuse, but you got to think. Put yourself in the shoes of 20-year-old you pursuing your dream. And then you get to go work for this big time mogul. Back there in the early 2000s, Diddy was a big deal. He was a really big deal. You understand? So it's like you have your career. This is going to set your career off. And now that you've gotten in this thing with him, this man has so much reach, he can end your career. The very thing that you love, he could take it away from you if you don't go along with it. So it's like you're not thinking as I don't know how old you are, but I know for me, I'm older. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the same way now that I thought at 20 or that I thought at 40 or I mean, not 40, at 30 in my 40s. I don't think the same. You also got to think about the threats. You got to think about everything that went along with this. When Capricorn Clark testified, she said that after she left Bad Boy the first time, because remember, she went back. When she left the first time, that she went to go interview. And when she got to the interview, she got a phone call. I forgot who it was that called her. I want to say Jimmy Iovine, but I'm not sure. I think it was, though. She says he calls her in to come in and meet with him, and she's thinking it's for an interview. And he calls her into the office to tell her to let this thing go with Diddy. What? She's going for interviews, and he's showing up there. Him and Andre Harrell. Just flexing that he has that reach and power to crush you. So it's real easy to say, just quit, just walk away. But there's so much more attached to that than just quit or walk away.